All right, everybody, this is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Today is the first day of my 2023 NFL Draft position preview. I'm going to go through all the positions, one position per day, starting with the quarterbacks today, leading up, of course, to the NFL Draft, which is just a couple of weeks away. If you haven't already bought my 2023 NFL Draft Prospect book, it's been available on Amazon for months now, so make sure you pick that up. Also, my Fantasy Football 2023 Draft Guide is, 90% finished, just waiting for the draft to be done so I can do the rookie report and also, update scenarios and situations based on where the key offensive players are going to be drafted. Now, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, also hit the notification button. I haven't had a lot of videos, of late just because, with the season being over and is that dead spot from the combine leading up to the draft. But now with the draft coming, going to go hot and heavy now daily from now through the draft. And of course, after the draft, talking about certain prospects and how that impacts fantasy football, which of course is going to be here before you know. We're moving towards May. And then the 2023 sleepers, player analyzers, those are going to start being posted in June. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Now, want to talk about quarterbacks today because quarterbacks are going to rule the roost when it comes to the first round of the 2023 NFL draft. We've already had the Chicago Bears, of course, trade out of the number one draft pick for the Carolina Panthers. And David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, has said for a really long time that he's done. He wants a quarterback, a young quarterback that he can depend on. You have the Indianapolis Colts there at number 4, also the Texans at number 2. The Texans won a meaningless game the last week of the 2022 season that cost them the top spot. But all indications are that they're probably going to wind up taking either Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, depending on what Carolina does. But here's the thing. The big wild card in all of this is Anthony Richardson. So Anthony Richardson, the Florida quarterback, very raw, accuracy issues, but is a unbelievable athlete. We're talking Cam Newton. We're talking Michael Vick. We're talking Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields is a little more of a polished passer, even though he's not a great pure thrower of the football himself. But Anthony Richardson, you talk about tools. There are scenarios, there are mock drafts where Richardson will go number 1 to the Carolina Panthers. I, for one, am not a huge fan of Richardson because, again, you can give me Josh Allen, which is the exception, but most guys who have accuracy problems coming out of college don't improve exponentially. They make very small gains in that area when they get to the pros, which of course they're going to be facing tougher defenses, quicker defenses. So, it makes sense that accuracy doesn't improve as much. But Carolina Panthers at number 1. They're taking a quarterback. Houston Texans at number 2. They're taking a quarterback. Will Anderson's going to go number 3 to the Arizona Cardinals. The Colts at number 4. They're going to take a quarterback. Seattle. It is possible they could take a quarterback as well. Could Richardson go to Seattle? Number 6, Detroit. That, to me, that is where I have Richardson being mocked at Detroit because they have Jared Goff for another year. Then they can get out of the contract. Richardson, who I feel needs to learn for a year, can sit behind Goff. It's a loaded offense. He can hit the ground running in 2024. I think that would be an option. The Las Vegas Raiders, they could take a quarterback. Even the Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder is not the answer, in my opinion. So I think they could be looking at a quarterback too. So those draft spots in the top 8, other than Arizona, can all take quarterbacks. Philadelphia Eagles at number 10. Is that where Bijan Robinson goes? I've said on Twitter that the worst kept secret is that Bijan Robinson's going to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's happening. Whether he goes with that pick or the number 30, he's not going to last the number 30. But if the Eagles trade up with that number 30 pick to move up to get Robinson, number 10 overall, based on pure talent, Robinson is as good as any player in the draft. But anyway, so we're talking quarterbacks today. This is a very deep quarterback class. Now, I wanted to share with you guys my top 10, my updated top 10, all right? So the top 10 that might have been in my draft guide has been changed slightly. For me, I have Bryce Young as the number 1 player. Now, 5'10", 204 pounds. He's very slight, but he processes the game as well as any quarterback prospect I've ever seen. We're talking like Andrew Luck, smarts, reading defenses, throws just an unbelievable ball, puts it right on the numbers. Receivers don't break stride. He is as smart, accurate, heady, whatever you want to call it. That's Bryce Young. Now, durability concerns for sure. But Jalen Hurts has that same question mark. And while he did miss, a couple of games late last season, he generally held up well. So, and that's the comp, Bryce Young and Jalen Hurts. Now, Jalen Hurts is a faster runner, but Bryce Young is athletic. He can get out the pocket. Accuracy is phenomenal. He's more accurate than Jalen Hurts. I think Bryce Young is deserving of being the number one quarterback. If he doesn't get taken by the Panthers, number two, Houston Texans, I know they're interested. That would be a landing spot as well. My number two quarterback is CJ Stroud. I had Stroud number one in the draft guide. Or at least I believe I did. I don't even have it in front of me. I've gone back and forth so many times with them. I don't even remember off the top of my head who I had number one in the draft guide. But there is a issue with Ohio State quarterbacks coming out. They haven't had a lot of success in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. The jury's still out on Justin Fields, who really is more athlete than passer at this stage of the game. I mean, as phenomenal as he was from a fantasy football perspective, once he stopped running down the stretch of the season, he didn't do much of anything, talking about Justin Fields. So, but as far as CJ Stroud, he is less of an athlete. He's more of a passer than Justin Fields ever was. He really showed out well against Georgia in the semifinal championship, the championship semifinals. That really helped his stock, in my opinion. Answered a lot of questions as well. Accuracy is very good. He can hit the out pass. He can throw a touch down the sidelines. When plays break down, he tends to panic a little bit, which I don't like. His accuracy is good, but turnovers maybe could be a small smidge of an issue for him in the NFL, at least initially. Maybe he could stand to run a little bit more, but I do like CJ Stroud. And again, I have him number two. If I had to pick one of the two, I'd take Bryce Young, but then CJ Stroud second. My number three quarterback. So this is hard. I've got Anthony Richardson now at number three over Will Levis. Will Levis 2 years ago was phenomenal. He wasn't great last season. I did the tape on Will Levis wasn't great. Cannon of an arm. There's no question he's got the strongest arm in this entire draft class. Richardson not far behind. There was not as much talent around him last season. So maybe is that a reason? But he's a big body, major size, major arm. He's got the it factor in terms of the swagger. So and he's a bull of a runner as well. Think about Josh Allen as a runner. Will Levis has that underrated speed. You're like, wow, he's faster than I thought. That's Will Levis. I don't think he can start right away. I think whatever team takes him, unless you're the Detroit Lions or, the Seattle Seahawks, I think he's going to start from day one. So I have an issue with him. I think there's a developmental curve with Will Levis. I do like him, not in love with him. Now, Anthony Richardson, the upside is unbelievable. Now, I was a little harsh on him in the draft guide. He's more Lamar Jackson than Cam Newton. All right, he's not as big as Cam Newton. He's like Lamar Jackson 2.0. And even Justin Fields. The running is going to set up the passing. All right, and that's what Lamar Jackson turned him into an MVP. So it could work. But Richardson's very inexperienced. He threw a lot of interceptions last season. Only 13 starts in college. Had five touchdown runs of 45 yards or more. So he's got game-breaking explosive speed. He can hit the tight pass. He can hit the out. He's got that arm strength to get into those tight windows. But his setup is not great. His feet, if you watch tape on Anthony Richardson, his feet are all over the place. He doesn't have the consistent setup in his stance. That's what I'm trying to say. The consistent setup in his stance to keep a firm base, to keep proper mechanics as he throws. Okay, arm gets a little loose, elbow drops, stance not always consistent, and that causes the ball to sail and leads to interceptions, which he threw quite a few of last season. But he's very raw. All right, very, very raw, has untapped, unlimited ceiling. So you want to try to hit it out of the park, that's the guy. No doubt about it, no argument. But if you're the Panthers picking number one overall, boy, that's going to be, you really, really, really have to have conviction on Richardson to be the number one overall guy. Have him number three, Will Levis number four. Now, Hendon Hooker of Tennessee is very interesting to me. Torn ACL last November. If not for that torn ACL, he had a huge start to the season. Numbers were phenomenal. Really was impressed with him throwing the football, made incremental gains in that aspect of things. If he didn't suffer the torn ACL, I think it's possible Hooker is right there with CJ Stroud, with Bryce Young, ahead of Will Levis as a prospect. Now, he's an older prospect. He's 25 already. That's, some personnel, front office execs don't like that he's older. Coming back from the torn ACL probably is not going to be ready for the start of the season. But the numbers are phenomenal. All right. Very, very, very accurate. 5 interceptions to 58 touchdown passes. I mean, that's video game numbers. So, Hendon Hooker, really impressed with his tape. Really like him. So again, if you're Detroit, if you're Seattle, you want to wait, have your guy sit for a year and marinate. Now, I know he'll be 26 years old then next season. That's older for a prospect, but Hendon Hooker could be a good guy there. I have him at number 5. So number 6, I have Dorian Thompson-Robinson, UCLA. He's very interesting to me. He's got a nice build, 6'3", 205. 40-game starter, lots of experience. At UCLA offense was really good, with Charbonnet, the running back. Got exponentially better in college, talking about Thompson-Robinson. He is a dual threat, 28 rushing touchdowns. So he's got a lot of tools to offer you, and he's going to be a day 2 pick. So, the value is there for sure. Shifty guy, good runner, cuts, everything. No doubt about it. Ball security is an issue. Throws it up too much, panics in the pocket. Mechanics need a little bit of work. Careless with the football, turnovers are an issue. So he needs to shore that up. And that's a little disturbing to me considering he's a 40-game starter. You would think that would have gotten better. And it did it did get better, but not to the point where, I'm not at least concerned about that with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But I do like him a lot as a day 2 or even a day 3 pick. Jake Haener of Fresno State comes next, 5'11", 207. He's thin. Can hit the tight pass in the tight window for sure. He was lauded for his leadership skills at Fresno State. Really, really tough player. Stood in the pocket even though he doesn't have big size. But he's undersized. And Haener looks like a developmental guy, backup player, that kind of thing. Stetson Bennett is next. Listen, you can't argue with the success he had in college. I mean, it was just unbelievable. But he's going to be 26 as a rookie, so he's even older than Hooker. He's older than Justin Herbert. He's older than Trevor Lawrence. So Stetson Bennett right away is coming in as an older prospect. There's off the field issues. Had the DUI bust. Carries himself like a prima donna. Look at me, I'm Stetson Bennett. Do you know who I am? And teams don't like that. I don't like that. I think it's really unbecoming of a player to have that attitude, especially one like Stetson Bennett, who's 5'11", 190. He's not a top prospect. Granted, the numbers were there. He made the throws to help win 2 championships. No doubt about it. You can't take that away from him. Has a knack for the big, to make the clutch play. Knows what he's doing. He runs pretty well. Accuracy style, doesn't have a cannon, although he showed pretty good at the combine. So Bennett improved himself in the combine, but attitude, off-field issues, older prospect, day 3 pick for me. There's a lot of noise there. And the public intoxication January, that definitely hurt him. Clayton Tune of Houston, interesting. 6'2", 220. He's got a good firm base, 104 career touchdown passes. Interception rate dropped throughout his tenure, which is what you want to see. You want to see that improvement. Very, very stationary player, though. Does not offer anything in the run game. Pocket passer all the way, but was productive. And that Houston offense put up quite a lot of points. So, again, you're talking about a prospect that, a day 3 guy that could be a developmental, solid backup. I think that Tune would be somebody that you could look at. Now, Tanner McGee rounds out the top 10, Stanford. I like Stanford quarterbacks. Obviously, they're smart coming in, going back to John Elway, going back to Andrew Luck. And listen, Davis Mills on some really god-awful Houston Texan teams played better than the numbers indicate. So Stanford players coming from a pro-style offense do well in the NFL. Tanner McGee, 6'6", 230, big build. I mean, he's just a strapping player. He had a 2-year religious mission in Brazil. So he's, again, he's older, but he's got that prototypical size, powerful arm. There's a lot to like here. He's got a weird delivery though. He's kind of like, he's got that Phillip Rivers thing going. He did throw more interceptions than you would like, so he's got some things he's got to shore up. But Tanner McGee, smart, heady player. I think that he would be somebody that can work as a good backup. All right. I didn't talk about Max Duggan at TCU. He didn't show good at the combine, Duggan. Now, listen, he plays with his hair on fire. So leadership, great. Teammates loved him, but he's small, 6 foot. They list him at 6'1". That's generous. He's 6 foot, 205. He had heart surgery in his past. 43-game starter, lots of experience there. It's a very stripped down offense in TCU that he ran. So a lot of easy completions, short throws, nothing really challenging. So it was hard to get a grasp on how good the arm really is. He did not do well at the combine. So that hurt him, especially the deep ball drills. So Duggan, I think, gets knocked. Day 3, round 7, that's where I could see him. And now as far as small school, Tyson Bagent of Shepherd, very productive, 2-time NCAA Division II Player of the Year. Did well at the Senior Bowl, okay? Now that the Senior Bowl, coming from the Division II level at the Senior Bowl, he did fairly well, Bagent. So I don't think he's going to get drafted, but he'll definitely be a free agent signing. Spread offense guy. Again, plays with his hair on fire like Duggan, but has a little bit better of an arm. I think he's somebody that could get drafted there. So anyway, guys, so that's how I see the quarterbacks. Going to be a lot of quarterbacks. Hooker, I think, can be round 2. Richardson, Levis, Stroud, Bryce Young. Those guys are all going in round 1. So you're gonna have a lot of quarterbacks early in that draft. And it'll be interesting to see late who catches on as day 3 guys. So again, hit that subscribe, hit the notification button. Running backs coming tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that one.